You're looking at an interesting new camera from Sony that's the size and shape of a compact point and shoot, but it's loaded with features that are obviously targeted at enthusiasts and DSLR shooters looking for as much control as they can get from a camera this small. One of the first things I noticed when I picked up Sony's DSC-RX100 was the weight and metal body. It feels like a quality product. And then right away I realized that while the body looks and feels sleek, I'm not really confident that I wouldn't drop it. So I would recommend putting on the lanyard right away. I'd like to take a minute and tell you about features I think Sony targeted at enthusiasts. Let's start with the 1-inch sensor. Now, it's considerably larger than what I would normally expect to find in a compact body like this. And at 20.2 megapixels, the image resolution is there for large format output. In my informal testing, the quality was certainly good, but the low light photography, though strong for a point-and-shoot compact, isn't quite up to the standards set by most current prosumer DSLRs. Enthusiasts will appreciate the f1.8 aperture on the wide end of the zoom. Shallow depth of field isn't something you'd expect to be able to generate using a compact camera, but it's definitely possible with this setup. And while Sony's Zeiss lenses generally have a good reputation, the T-coated lenses, like the 28 to 100 millimeter equivalent on this camera, have an even better track record. Just be aware that the aperture drops to f4.9 by the time you reach the end of the optical zoom range. Another feature for enthusiasts is the menu system, designed after Sony's Alpha series menus. Now, you may not find Pro-styled menus listed anywhere, but the menu interface gives pros a familiar look and feel. That way they can easily access a wide range of manual settings, many of which aren't normally available on consumer cameras. And it makes this consumer-looking shooter a more versatile tool for pros and enthusiasts. Add to that the programmable function button to give you quicker access to the functions you use the most, and the controls are just what pros would ask for in a compact shooter. While the RX100 doesn't have touchscreen controls, the control ring gives users access to the camera's digitally assisted manual focus capability, and it's also an easy way to control all kinds of functions like aperture, white balance, exposure compensation, plus a few other functions, as well as functions you decide to assign. For example, you can set it to zoom, but I found that to be a little clumsy compared to the normal zoom control. The travel of the control ring is smooth and silent, and since it can be used for things like changing scenes in scene mode, I have the audio feedback turned on so I can hear a click each time I change a setting when I turn the dial. For consumer comfort, there are scene modes and 2 full auto modes, but with the higher price tag needed to cover the Pro feature set, consumers aren't really the target market for this camera. The video capabilities are certainly respectable, with a full HD 1080/60p and a built-in stereo mic with an electronic wind filter option. I like that zoom and autofocus both work while filming, and I also like that the dedicated record button starts video capture from any mode dial position. And if you want stills while you're filming, just press the shutter button to grab those stills. Sony is obviously targeting enthusiasts and pros looking for a compact body, so I'm a little surprised that there's no viewfinder or hot shoe or even options to add them. Nevertheless, I don't consider either of these issues a deal breaker when it comes to a compact camera. And because it doesn't have a hot shoe, you'll need to use the pop-up flash from time to time, so just a quick note about it. Like most people will naturally, I found myself gripping the camera with both hands. The only thing to be aware of when you do that is that the flash can't automatically pop up if you need it. Then once the flash does pop up, you can again use the two-handed grip and you won't interfere with the flash. And speaking of the flash, I really like that you can manually tilt it so you can bounce light in various environments instead of always being stuck with direct flash. It's a nice touch. Now, when it comes to the topic of the lack of a viewfinder, we need to talk about the LCD. It's a nice one. Sony's added some pixels, white pixels, to the usual red, green, and blue ones for even greater brightness. Sony calls it white magic. But I've honestly never seen any LCD screen that works well enough in direct sunlight that I could say I didn't miss the viewfinder. Still, it's certainly usable and as good as any LCD I've seen in direct sun. For more than a year now, I've been telling people that mirrorless cameras from Sony and others are intended to fill the gap between point-and-shoot cameras and DSLRs. That's because they provide a good solution that's reasonably pocketable if you have big pockets. Well, now there's a similar solution that's even more pocketable, and it combines a host of pro features and lots of controls in a truly compact form factor that doesn't require an investment in a new lens ecosystem. The Sony DSC-RX100 is sure to find an audience with pros and enthusiasts looking for a compact camera with a big sensor and pro controls. With Sony's new compact DSC-RX100, I'm Larry Becker. Thanks for watching.
For more information, please visit us online, give us a call, or stop by our New York City Superstore. You can also connect with us on the web.